Melanie Martinez just dropped their new album, Portals, and I listened to all their previous music just to refresh my memory in preparation for the new album. One thing that I'll say is that I love this new era of her. Fantasy-looking characters are my favorite, and her new character looks absolutely amazing. I just had to draw her. So in this video, we're going to make a sketch of her new look, split it in 4, and use a different medium to color in each corner. I'll be using gouache, acrylic paint, watercolor, and soft pastels to color in our sketch. Before we start, I just want to remind you all to like the video if you like the video, and to subscribe if you like the content I make, or am going to make since this is my first long-form video. Starting with gouache, we'll be coloring the top left section of the drawing. It's been a month since I last used gouache, so I'm a bit rusty with it now. I almost feel like I should have started with a medium I was more familiar with, like watercolor, because this first section will dictate how I color the rest of the sections. Although it took a few iterations to get the drawing how I wanted it to look, I do think it looked alright in the end. A few things I would change if I could go back would be to make the black background darker and add some blue into the shadows, since you'll see those in the later sections. And that's that section completed. Moving on to the top right section, we'll be using acrylic. I'm much more familiar with this medium, so I was confident this section was going to go quick. However, I didn't take one thing into account in that hypothesis, and that was I was going to be using a new brand of paints, the containers of which I discovered while exploring some of my old supply boxes moments earlier. I wrongfully assumed I'd be comfortable with using this new brand, not thinking they'd be any different from using my usual brands, but I was in fact wrong, and I don't know why I thought otherwise. These paints were very translucent. Maybe it was just the brand, maybe it was the fact that they're years old. I don't know, but I do know that they were horrible to work with. Despite that, however, I did get the painting looking right. And that's the top sections completed. Now it's time for the bottom sections. For the bottom left section, we'll be using watercolor. As of right now, watercolor is my favorite medium. It's just very pleasant and fun to use. I usually use black markers to outline my sketches for watercolor paintings, but since I didn't use markers in the other sections, I chose not to use them now. And I think it was a good choice, because all the sections look much more similar this way. For the last section, I used soft pastels. I almost used oil paints instead of soft pastels for this section, and only didn't because I've never used oil paints before. Though I think I'd prefer if all the mediums I used were paints instead of having 3 paints and 1 pastel. I wouldn't change my decision if I could go back. Oil paints deserve their own first try video. Though if I do this again in the future, I'll definitely do a paints only mediums comparison. And this is the finished drawing. What do you think? Like it? Dislike it? Think I could have changed some details? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And also, tell me your favorite color. Mine's yellow. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Love you all. Bye bye.